we
Yeah.
finish up here. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Titan Esports Winter Split Group Draw Show. I am here joined by our lovely producer, Fort, and Titan Esports admin owner. We'll be kind of running the show behind the scenes. I have the notorious TLP. Will be giving us some insight into the Divinity teams. And joining him will be Sansrino34, known as Sans, who will also be giving insight into Divinity teams. And then, kind of later on, Ulram will be joining us as well, who's done some previous content for 10 Esports, and he'll be helping me out with some of the Conqueror teams during the group draw show. So excited to have everyone here. As everyone has seen, we have 16 teams in our Conqueror League, which is our D4 cap league. And we also have the same in our Divinity League, which is our P4 cap league. Those are hard caps, not one exception caps. So everybody on the roster can be up to P4, up to D4. So we'll be doing for each league. We'll be doing a groups of 8 teams, which will be split tonight, and each of those teams will be playing 7 weeks of one BO3 each week against the opponents in their group. So a single round robin for those 8 teams in each group. And after those 7 weeks, week 8 will be the quarterfinals, which will be best of 5s, as all playoffs are. And the top 4 teams from Group A, from each group, will be making playoffs. Our standard tiebreaker rules apply for all the standings, so you can find those in our rule book. It'd be pretty cool if I could say like rule book right now, and in chat the rule book just pops up. But we're not that techie yet. So yeah, top 4 teams from each group after 7 weeks into playoffs, quarterfinals, semis, and finals for the grand prize of, let me see if I can remember the math. The prize pool for Conqueror is 960, thanks to the 16 teams participating. And then for Divinity, it is 640, with 20% of each of those being for operations, and then 10% to second place, and the remaining 70% to first place, the champions. So I think that pretty much covers what we're here to do, in short explanation of our wonderful winter split that we'll be hosting and all the teams that are participating. Speaking of those teams, I think we should probably get to know them a little bit and see who they will be facing up against in their groups. Just one more note, I believe after all the groups are drawn, we'll be updating the league doc with which group they're in, and then we'll be updating the schedule as well. And I'll send out a message to team contacts for each league once that schedule is updated. And eventually, once we sort out the groups and everything, week 1 of Divinity will be this upcoming Monday at 8 EST. And week 1 of Conqueror will be this upcoming Wednesday at 8 EST. Yeah, I believe Fort will be switching over the display on the screen right now to our handy dandy wheel spinner, which decides everybody's fate for the remainder of these 7 to 10 weeks. Truly is an incredible technology. I think the screen on Twitch is still the Tiny Sports Winter display.
It's the wheel.
It's the wheel. You're good.
I'm lagging. Mine is slow. Let me see what's going on. Let me watch that so I can see which team gets picked first.
Can they hear us?
All
right.
Oh, I love the background.
Yeah, so we already got the wheel on stream right now, guys. We're about to start any moment now. It's your boy TOP, and I got here Sands with me. We're starting the wheel right now.
Ooh,
Got it spinning. First spin right here, and we have
Tenebris Ethereal.
Tenebris. All right. Yeah, it's Tenebris, man.
This is Tenebris is esports ethereal. From their team captain, they're just a bunch of hooligans who play League for the fame and glory. So, looking forward to seeing them participate. They've had a couple of teams participate in our fall split, and they have a bunch of other teams across other leagues, across different league caps. Pretty large organization so far in the past couple of years where I've seen them, and we can see on the screen their current roster for our Divinity League. Sans KLP, any thoughts on Ethereal and their roster?
Honestly, it just looks like just an overall well-rounded team. You got some diversity in the bot lane, where especially with you have Enjoyable Golem and you have Savvy. Both look to play these wacky bot lane picks that are really running rampant right now. You have Dark with way too many A's in the top lane, who seems to be like your typical bruiser top player. So I mean, honestly, just with the way the the players' champion pools are kind of rounding out, looks like everyone's like you have these role players, and basically, it looks like they're probably going to be better together as individuals. So you got about a bunch of role players from the looks of it, based on that. I don't know if you have any feedback on that one, Sans.
Well, of course I do. So first off, I love what I see from Dark here. It's a lot of A's in his champ pool. It's a lot of A's in his name, which is perfect. Seeing Aatrox in this league is exactly what I want to see. And building off what you said earlier, seeing these guys play together and not one at a time is definitely going to be the highlight of this team. Seeing the Ziggs from Savvy as well as the Jin, seeing the but looks like a lot of variety from Enjoyable Golem. But the key thing that they have together is that it'll be very enjoyable to see how they perform in these team fights. I feel like this team is going to be majorly team fight focused, and I feel like with their coordination and their team play more than their individual play, we'll be able to at least get some exciting matches, if not some of the best gameplay. Just for starting out.
Yeah, I think just one thing to add for this team, I believe they've replaced their jungler. So currently, they have their sub will be playing jungler for them, which is Skra, and he'll be filling in. But I believe they're still on the lookout for a jungle starter. So if anybody out there, is a P4 or below jungle starter, maybe hit them up. Join in on their exciting team play they will be displaying during this split.
Yeah, that's going to be definitely interesting to see, especially because I'm looking at Skra's champion pool. Definitely seems like the one that's definitely a tempo jungler, definitely definitely momentum is definitely something that he tends to play off of, especially with high win rate on champs like Kane and Udyr and Diana. Like he seems to be definitely one that likes to push it.
Yeah, for sure. Should be an interesting team to watch. Thank you and welcome to Tenebris Esports Ethereal.
Yeah, so that's going to be the first team for Group A. All right, let's get the wheel back on the screen and we'll start looking for the first team that's going to be going into Group B.
Yeah. Can't wait to see it so I can excitedly shout their name again. I'm just going to keep that running the whole time, just for posterity's sake. And we have... Ooh, it's right in the middle.
Is it? And who is it?
I believe it's Goon Squad.
Is it Goon? I have no idea.
Yeah, just respin it real quick. It's right in the middle, so might as well.
I think the image in the background kind of messes up the lines.
No stress though, it's all about style points.
All right, so here we go.
This one is definitively Eclipsing Tides.
All right. So
let's Eclipsing Tides. Newcomers to Tiny Esports. And as we saw what they can do, they actually won the Winter Invitational that we had last week, going 4-0 and showing off some impressive games. Um, I'll read off their team intro that they specifically sent over. Shout out to their captain, I believe. Um, Eclipsing Tide is a new team on the Eclipse of Greyness and Titan Esports Division League Winter Invitational Champion. Yes, they won that. Featuring Unaware, who's still trying to find his word key. Spy Kid, who's going undercover in the jungle. Cam, who's pressing the lead. Easy, who's grabbing easy pentakills. Zond, who's protecting who's protecting the Tides, and their recent addition, I believe he was snagged over from the Goon Squad gaming team, Physical, who's about to make things personal. So that's the Eclipsing Tides team. And I think Fort will be bringing up their roster. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. The Eclipsing Tides roster can be seen above. As we saw them last week in the Invitational. Sans, TLP, any thoughts?
Oh, of course. So first off, we can already see some differentiation from the last team here. We see more conventional AD carries with Easy, with some more aggressive picks with the Lucian and the Zaya especially. We see some Zyra Khan with Zon Liliac working with that. I'm loving what I see in the top lane with a lot of hard engaged tanks. I see Cassante, I see Trundle, I see Shen and Malphite, which are picks I love to see. And then the mid lane, half unconventionally, we have a lot of bruisers and tanks. Outside of the conventional mid lane picks like your Victor and your Ryze and your Cassiopeia that are specialized in, I see Set, I see Aurelia, and I see Scion, which is what I love to see in the mid lane. It's a lot more. I. It's hard to put into words what I feel like. It's a lot more meaty, is the word I'm looking for, and especially with what looks like an Olaf specialization in the jungle as well as a Nunu and Sejuani. It's a lot of pushing forward. It's a lot of meat sticking, is the word I like to use for it. So it should make for an exciting set of teams. Exciting set of players, I digress.
Yeah, the one thing I'm gonna say, and I know there was some talk in the Divinity General chat earlier this week and last week as well. This is a team that's been playing together since I believe November is what they said. I mean, they've said something like about 30 scrims, something like that. I mean, I would have gone 4-0 too if I've been playing together for 30 scrims. I mean, since November. So it's going to be interesting. Definitely a team that's been playing together a while. They seem to have found what's worked for them. So it's definitely going to see. Definitely going to be interesting to see how they match up against some of these other teams that they maybe didn't get to play against in the Invitational, as well as the teams that they did play against. Maybe putting a giant target on their back since they are the Invitational champions.
Keep in mind, guys, if you beat Eclipsing Tides, you get to brag about it for the whole season.
Wait, what? Oh, okay. Time to put a target on their back for sure.
Of course, it's our job.
Alrighty. I mean, who do you think the player to watch on this squad is going to be? I'm going to say it's mid lane, especially with some of his unconventional picks. Definitely having that flexibility in there. I think mid lane is going to be the one to watch.
Yeah, I'm definitely very excited to see that. But my personal preference is in our boy Spy Kid 180 here. Just
Okay.
from these picks that I'm seeing here, I like it's a lot of meat sticking. What can I say? It's my favorite way to play.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I'm a connoisseur of the tanks as well, so I definitely agree with you.
All right.
All right, I think
I think you guys definitely got to watch out for their ADC too. Showed off some pretty impressive moves during Invitational, so keep an eye on him.
Yeah, so it's definitely just going to be this team's going to be definitely very interesting to watch. Definitely going to be probably one of the more well-rounded teams since they've already figured out what works. They're not going to have the hiccups that some of these other teams may have.
Yeah, and I think they picked up a sub in Physical who's been around for a while, I believe, in the top lane. So maybe he can give them some veteran advice in terms of how to navigate certain situations. So looking forward to see if they can build up on their Invitational win momentum and how far they can go this first split in Tiny Esports.
For sure.
They'll be the first team in our Group B, which you can see on the league doc on the standings tab.
Oh yeah.
I'll be updating that live. as we draw teams.
All right. So let's go ahead and jump back to the wheel and let's see what the next team's going to be.
Oh yeah, this next team will be the first team in Group C, by the way.
Ain't no Group C's, bro.
Group C, not
Yeah.
32
We'll just skip
teams.
All right. And now we have
Team Revenge Academy.
Team Revenge.
All right. I'm just going to start this one off just because I kind of like their logo, which is literally just a Glock.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's
It's just a freaking gun. It's freaking great. Look at that. That's just lovely to see right there.
Yeah, team
just
Revenge
opening up this.
Academy, they're a newer team to Titan Esports as well. Not much information on them, but I know they have a D4 team. Not D4. Sorry, Diamond Cap team. So I know a player on there that's playing for them. I said good things about their org so far, and I believe from what I can see from the players, their jungler played in our fall split last time for Clown Gaming Dongs. So he's a pretty solid tempo, high paced jungler. So that'll be an interesting player to watch.
I can definitely see that just looking at these OP.GGs. It's very exciting.
Let's take a look and see.
I'm just in amazement. Like,
I already love their top laner. As a fellow,
agreed.
I would love their top laner. They play a lot of Ornn, like me.
Like me, bro.
And then you got Sloppy, who's got a lot of early game moment, like carry junglers. He's got, holy crap, that's a lot of Lee Sin.
Yeah, he's definitely keeping up that tempo, which will be very exciting to see how that plays with these kind of slower tempo picks that we're seeing in the top line.
For sure. Especially basically scaling top with the aggressive jungler. And then you're seeing a little bit of diversity from the mid lane with the big standard, AD carries with the enchanter bot lanes as well. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see. But it's definitely going to be another team that plays strong early mid jungle. And then you're going to have some scaling into probably a very strong team fighting team. Definitely what I'm seeing right here.
It's conventional, but it's conventional for a reason. It's definitely a very threatening way to play the game. So watch out for these guys.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see how they do in their first time as an org in Titan Esports as well. So they'll be the second team going into Group A along with Tenebris Esports Ethereal.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. Who do you think the players to watch is going to be in this team, this squad right here?
I have to say it's Terps. Like, the Ornn gameplay, it's what I live for. But in reality, the one who I feel is going to be the focus of this team, the one who's going to, drive this game forward, is definitely going to be Sloppy, especially with this high tempo. I feel like he's going to be running the game. At least for he's going to be running the game.
I think Sloppy's going to be the one to watch. I think it's Lee Sin because, in our elo, you got mechanical misplays happen. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see if he's able to translate the solo queue style into a team competitive environment with Lee Sin, especially since the teams are a lot more coordinated. Teams are a lot more vocal and a lot more. The communication is a lot different than a solo queue environment. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how he's able to elevate the pressure and basically keep the momentum going for his team.
Yeah, for sure. Welcome to Team Revenge, and welcome to your academy team, to Titan Esports. Let's see who'll be joining. Who'll be the second team in Group B, along with Eclipsing Tides.
Let's get the wheel going.
I'm very excited. Keep in mind, these guys, you know your goal already. It's Goon Squad!
Oh, right. All right. Take it
All
away,
right,
Sam.
so Goon Squad Gaming has been around for a couple of years with some ups and downs as far as results go. Even so, they play with the people they play with mainly because it's fun to do so. They want to win and put in as much effort as possible, but their first priority is enjoying playing with the four on their own team. So looks like some solid gamers who enjoy having fun together and focus on participating as a team. But they've had some good results in the past. I think we played them against them a couple of times previously in like Joel and ZG, I believe. So they're a pretty solid group all around. TLP Sans, any thoughts on some of the players you're seeing on this roster for Goon Squad Gaming?
Honestly, Goon Squad, nice to see them return. It's kind of sad to not see them in summer or the fall split, but definitely returning from that spring where they made top four, where they unfortunately had made a semifinals exit against BDE, which were the champions. Definitely an interesting squad to see. Definitely nice to see them return. Interesting to see that you have that Decker guy who was honestly just a nuisance to play against back then.
In a good way. In a good way.
In a good way. His champion pool is definitely a pain in the butt to deal with. Definitely definitely strong with some of these enchanter players, as well as some of his tank as well. Overall, they were just a solid top four team in the spring. Should be interesting to see how they're going to measure up against some of these newer teams.
So on the meat stickin' scale, which goes from 1 to 10, these guys are at least an 8.5, which I personally appreciate. Just look at Decker guy. Look at that. He plays Zac support. That is the most meat sticking thing there is. I'm very excited to see like the level of play that we saw in the spring, or even something even better. Who knows what these guys have been cooking up in the whole almost year since we've seen them last.
That is true. I think I'm going to start chiming in a bit with leading up to some of the power rankings that I put together. So I think overall, I see this team being kind of fringe playoff team, trying to sneak in. So I'll show you guys where I put them towards the end of the actual group draw once we get all the Divinity teams in. But based on some of the other teams and their roster and their previous performances, I think they're maybe the last team in for playoffs. We'll see.
All right, to any Goon Squad members in Twitch, make sure you prove Sem's wrong. That's your goal for this season.
Yeah.
I should have done that for some of the previous teams too, but I'll touch on that a bit after.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We might do a recap at the very end.
Yeah, for sure. GSG will be joining Eclipsing Tides in Group B as the second team drawn.
All right.
And then now we can go over to the next
wheel spinning one again.
Yes, sir. See who's going to be the third team in Group A.
Sir.
I'm very excited. Group A is already looking very nice, so well, definitely we don't have to worry about one group being more boring than the other ones. This is going to be a very exciting split already. And we have
Rangers here? Is this
Conduit Esports? Nah, it's Kraken.
All right. So we have Conduit Esports Kraken.
They're crack-a-lackin' indeed. Subs.
Yeah, I didn't. So this is Conduit Esports. They've been around for a bit now. They have some pretty solid main couple of teams, I believe. They've gone pretty deep. And most of the leagues they participated in last split, I don't remember if they made semifinals. I know they were a pretty strong team last fall split that we had. With some returning players here as well. So I believe their org owner, Old Man Genetics, who's an old man, has done a really well job of pushing the org forward and having some solid teams under their belt. So I'm excited to see if Kraken can improve on their previous performances. I believe this team also has a very special player on their team in the ADC role, and his name is Brother Hedge. You gotta watch out for that guy.
All right.
What do you know about Brother Hedge? Let's hear it.
Or is that just like a general warning from the team?
Hey, all I know is you gotta watch out for Brother Hedge. He may or may not have played for a clown gaming team once upon a time,
Oh,
or he may not. He may have rode the bench for a while, but all I gotta say, you gotta watch out. He's a problem.
Nah,
fair
the one that I think is gonna be the one to watch on that squad is gonna be Galata. I think Galata really showed his stuff in the summer. His Lilia was a must ban. Like the guy was like insane on it. Definitely was just a nuisance. Like he drawing bans left and right. I think he's definitely gonna be one of the players to watch. I think honestly, like I think my opinion of Conduit at the very beginning was they took how many available sub slots they had, and they're like, all right, let's just add a full roster. Let's just fill all the slots, and if we can get more, we'll do more.
respectable way to make an org. Um, there's definitely some people to watch here. So on the old patented meat stick and sale, CZI is single-handedly moving their team a whole 2 points forward. But the player I'm honestly looking to see here is Merciful Crow. I feel like we'll be putting that merciful in air quotes with some of these artillery mages here.
Yeah, they'll be an exciting team for sure. And I don't usually point out subs, and we don't see them on here. But can I get a heck Billy in chat? Thank you.
Really?
All right, let's
Okay,
see.
well, Mansion X is on their subplay.
Conduit Esports Kraken will be the third team in Group A. They'll be joining T Ethereal and TR Academy. So exciting group so far,
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
and we should get moving and see who's going to be the third team in Group B.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Let's spin the wheel. Hey, CZI in chat. Can't wait to see what you do, man.
And I know we got the heck Billies.
We got Enforcers.
The Enforcer.
Hey guys.
These are Piltover's finest enforcers. Okay, make sure you get that right. The finest.
It's fine.
So this team has participated. I believe I don't know if they've been around for multiple splits, but recently, I think they were in our Gladiator League, and they did all right. Could have done better. Let's see what kind of roster they got bringing in this time around.
5 actual.
Take a.
That's a good one. Let's take a peek here. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, we got a Jax abuser. I don't know how I feel about this one.
We have a Jax Abuser, and we have a Samira, and a Fiddlesticks. We're staying a lot of circles.
It's going to be interesting to watch. I think definitely it's going to be a top jungle team. That's basically what I'm seeing. Because you got some of the utility, you got some from the mid lane. Your utility mid lane. You got some of your good scaling ADCs from the AD carry. But I'm gonna be honest. I think it's definitely looking like it's a top centric team. I think the Jax, the Yone definitely plays a lot more carries and bruisers in the top side, and then you have Chiquale, or I don't even know how to pronounce it, but he definitely plays a lot more of the enabling junglers and a strong team fight presence as well. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how this team shapes up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I forgot to point out on a previous team, somebody messed up my power rankings, and I guess I'm just going to stick with it. But that last team, the Conduit Esports Kraken team, looks like they're going to be a bottom of the pack team, according to whatever my rankings say. I may have not put them there. I may have had higher, but what it's showing right now is that Conduit Esports is looking like a bottom of the pack team, but I don't think they'll be there.
All right. Well, while you're at it, do you
And
have
then
power rankings for Piltover's Finest here?
Yeah, for Piltover's finest, I think they have compared to some of the other teams, I think they have a lot to prove. So I have them a little bit I have them a little bit lower than Team Revenge Academy, so
That's fair.
we'll see
I
what they
feel
have
like
to show.
I feel like they can prove it. Honestly, I'm seeing a lot of meat sticking. What can I say? Not nearly as much meat sticking as some of our exclusive meat sticks up in top lane, but I'm seeing potential here. I'm seeing some good things that can happen. So keep your eyes peeled for these guys.
PF Enforcers, Piltover's Finest Enforcers, will be the third team in Group B, joining Goon Squad Gaming and Eclipsing Tides. So let's move forward with welcome to Piltover's Finest again, and let's move forward with the fourth team for Group A.
Hey, Crab
Cool,
Wranglers, old favorites.
I think you guys have a lot. You can say a lot about this team. So while you do that, I'm gonna welcome again to the returning or not returning previous champions. I'm gonna grab my charger while you guys talk about TA Crab Wranglers.
Go for it. So, do you want to start off with this one, CLP?
Say about this team, so I don't know if you want to start this one up.
I don't even know where to start here. I guess we should just move down the list. W, I don't recognize the name, but I do recognize the meat sticking. I like what I see, and I want to see how he can move forward with everyone's favorite singular bread to see some top lane dominance.
Yeah,
Which is my specialty, of course.
yeah, Stubby. Oh my god, this whole team is just thriving chaos. That's basically how these guys like to play. These guys are a bunch of psychopaths with keyboards.
Didn't know they let League of Legends in the mental institution.
No, it sometimes like especially Adam, live or die by the int. Especially live or die by the int. You have Dark Wenser, the stable foundational piece in that team that makes it work. He definitely it's just a strong foundational piece. He doesn't really feed. He doesn't and he definitely is the standard control mage player. He has singular bread who believes he's the big brains of the operation, and
He is.
And Adam's going to push the game forward, whether it's in favor of his team or not in favor of his team. But overall, I think this team is definitely one that they got history. They play together. They got that chemistry. I know the graphics aren't 100% accurate because the actual ADC is Ocean, and then Adam is at support with Joker, one of their subs. But overall, this team is definitely one to watch out for because they are former champions. They have been playing together for a while, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how these guys continue to grow and develop, especially coming into this new season.
Yeah, controlled and controlled chaos is.
I will say that they did have a rough performance in the Invitational, but a couple of them have said it was due to rust. So they're saying whatever happened in the Invitational was just a one-off, and I don't think they're going to let that happen again. So we'll see if they can get back to their champion ways. But I do have them being a pretty strong team, and they should be a top 4 team in my opinion, based on their previous experience and what they have done across Divinity League. We have a lot of returning players as well. So excited to see how they match up with some of the newer incoming teams who look definitely stronger than them during the Invitational. So
for sure.
Yeah, these guys have been practicing their style of play for a good couple of years now, so we'll have to see if it is still working out for them.
Yeah, they'll be the 4th team in Group A, joining Conduit Kraken, TR Academy, and T Ethereal.
Go ahead and switch.
We can draw the 4th team for Group B now.
Halfway there, guys.
Let's take a look.
And a look, reading Rainbow.
CB Fallen.
CB Fallen.
CB Fallen.
If it isn't Common Fallen, I mean, oops. CB Fallen. Apologies for that mix up in the team roster. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces on this roster, so I'm glad to see them participating. And as we know, CB is a well-known org throughout the gold scene, so they won a couple of champions. Not this specific team, but we do have a reigning champion on the roster, which is Induced, who had a pretty strong performance on Colorado Gaming Lambda, who were our Divinity Fall champions. I would go as far as to say I'm pretty sure he carried that team to the championship during that fall split, as some of his team members were underperforming. So that's all I gotta say for this team. I'm interested to see what they'll do, as some of their members have said that they're definitely a championship caliber roster, and their jungler may run over Divinity. So we'll see if that holds true.
That is a bold statement to see from Lil Juice back here.
Hey, Juiceback was the one that said it, but I won't say who it was.
Okay.
Oh, and one more comment. Sorry, I forgot. The person that submitted this team said that CB stands for chip bringing. So we'll see if that holds true in this winter split. Sans TLP, anything to comment on this specific team?
Ooh. So first off, Induced is a very, very familiar name for a good reason, because he plays everything. I would not be surprised if he swapped from top lane midway through the split to go to any other role. He has before, he will again. He is that kind of chaotic player. He can and will do anything everywhere to the best of his ability. But with some very strong players in the other lanes, some other familiar faces, we have Kills in the bot lane, which I'm very excited to see. And then Juiceback apparently is going to run over the whole league. So they might just keep Induced relegated to top lane to be able to share for themselves.
It's definitely an interesting team because you got Koyesh Kills as for bot lane. You got No Name and Lil Juice back. I'm just really curious, Sems, are we gonna have a reduce Induce counter on stream?
I think we need to, honestly, because the way he was looking in the top lane during the invitational.
I mean, he looked good on Yon. I mean, I just know that I got to keep the meme going, man. I know sometimes the reduce Induce, even though I'm trash, but I know you guys love it when it comes up.
that counter would have been pretty high during the invitational, so we'll see. We'll see if he can kind of regain some of his glorious top lane skills, Banar. But other than that, I think they have a pretty solid team here.
I think he looked relatively good. I think he's definitely gonna be the player to watch on this team. Between him and Little Juiceback, I think it's definitely gonna be top jungle for him. He definitely. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you don't think their ADC is the one that's pulling the strings and kind of calling the shots, making sure they're on their way to a victorious game?
Well, I'm not saying that Kills is not going to be the one to carry and stuff like that. What I'm saying is Induce is going to be the one to watch, because since he does play so many different roles, versus in my opinion, I'm looking at the top lane for the league at the moment. I think the top lane is probably one of the more stacked roles to see. So it's definitely going to see how he matches up against some of these other top laners, and just see how he matches up, especially with how much jumping around he does. So I want to see what type of results he kind of produces.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a jack of all trades for this one. So Kills might be calling the shots, but he'll be masterminding the games in a way that's conventional. Like he'll win, and it'll be what everyone expects.
Yeah, for sure. And just a bit of a clear up. There was some slight name changes for those players, so it's now CB Induced, CB No Name, CB Kills, and CB Koyesh. So those names are just a little slightly off. So congratulations to all those players on joining the CB org.
Yep.
And I'm excited to see what that team can do.
Yep. That Group B is already starting to look very interesting with CB Fallen, Eclipsing Tides. It's definitely two strong teams. And then you have the unknown quantities of Goon Squad and Piltover's Finest. So definitely Group B is definitely shaping up to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, one final comment. I will say I do have them, barely making playoffs, but it looks stronger than I don't know. It's hard. There's a lot of good teams, but I have them barely making playoffs. So
Okay.
we'll see. We'll see how they do.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting
And
to see.
they'll be the fourth team in Group B, joining Eclipsing Tides, Boon Squad Gaming, and Piltover's Finest Enforcers.
Yeah.
Let's just switch over to the wheel. Let's get our next team in for Group A.
Yep. Second half of Group A at this point.
All right.
ATD Norman D. Just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, I honestly, TD has a lot of solid teams. An org ran by Toxin, and I've seen them around for a while, but I do not know what TD stands for.
Me neither.
TD is an org with a winning pedigree, solid coaching, and a fun atmosphere for people to play in. And their goal is for improvement, winning some titles along the way. And in the past year, they sent 4 teams to Amateur Worlds, most by a single org. I cannot confirm if that's true. I did follow Amateur Worlds, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. Most by any single org, according to Toxin, and they won IBS Amateur Worlds, won multiple championships, and they consistently go deep into playoffs with most of their teams. So definitely a solid org and strong team to see in the coming back to the Divinity League. TLP, Sans, any insight onto their roster?
Photography Raptor, I know him. He used to be on the content creation team, and he's a very interesting traditional AD carry player. With he's got a conventional play style, but the way he plays it is very refined, right? So I feel like it'll look normal in the bot lane, but those small edges they'll turn into big deals later on. I'm very excited to see that.
One thing that I will say, I was talking to Photography Raptor, especially going into the Invitational. He definitely said that he said the way his team plays, the game will be over by 15 minutes, like will be pretty much decided by the 15-minute mark, in whether for his team or for the enemy team. They're apparently a very fast-paced team. They play very quick. They play very aggressively. So it's definitely going to be very interesting to see how they play. We did play against them in the Invitational, and they definitely met the expectations of being a very aggressive team.
All right. So no boring matches with these guys. It's gonna be a festival either way.
Oh, it's going to be a clown fiesta. It's going to be a fiesta regardless.
Awesome. Welcome back to TD, to the Divinity League. Solid performance in the Invitational as well. So I'm looking forward to see what they're going to be able to do. I do have them, higher up in the rankings. Below TACW, but above CB Fallen. So we'll see if they perform. They'll be the 5th team in Group A, joining TACW, C Kraken, TR Academy, and T Ethereal. Once again, you can see those groups on the standings page in the Divinity doc.
Yes,
so let's find out who will be our 5th team in Group B.
The odds are slowly getting closer and closer every time. So.
I'll go.
I'll go. Hey, it's your team, TLP.
Oh, great!
I'll let TLP do the intro.
Yeah, you're the expert.
I'm the expert for this team. Nah, we're trash. What are you talking about? I gotta temper the expectations for this squad. Well, you definitely have a lot of familiar faces. You have me in the top lane. You got IQ of a Coconut, and you got Pop Tart returning to Divinity. Definitely some familiar faces. You definitely have very interesting team. You definitely got a lot of players on the meat stick factor or scale for you, Sans. On the top half of the map with Sadness and me both being tank enjoyers. You got Coconut, who's just overall well rounded, and then you got Doug Davis and Pop Tart. Just you want to go ahead, Sans?
Yes.
Alright.
What do you
And
think about Team Sands?
Well, first off, TLP is a player to watch. He might not want you to watch him. Watch him anyway.
Don't.
All right, we'll keep an eye on how many Orn games he plays this split.
Yes,
Go
we
for it.
definitely
Yeah,
have
keep it
to
counter.
have. Yeah, we need to have.
Unfortunately, those TLP, no shade, but I don't see you guys making playoffs.
Oh, you have to
Hey.
prove him wrong here.
Yeah.
So
You can
Maybe the rest of the group draw will be friendlier to you guys, but it's gonna be hard. So you gotta bring your A game for sure.
Hey, listen. Just keep an eye on the standings. That's all I'm gonna say.
I got
Keep
you.
an
I'll
eye
keep an
on
eye
the
on that.
standings.
okay.
Welcome back to Bissell Haven Goat. Goat or Goats. They'll be joining Eclipsing Tides, Goon Squad Gaming, PF Enforcers, and CB Fallen in Group B. So let's move forward with seeing the 6 team in Group A.
Alright. Starting to round out the streak. It's very exciting. Hey, the other CB team. Alright.
Yes, this is the other CB team, our only sister team in the Divinity League, and they are also obviously coming from CB, but they are the reigning BOL Blue Outer League Gold champions. So that was last fall. They were able to win that league with, I believe, 4 out of the 5 players on this roster. So super excited to see them joining Divinity and going up against some tougher competition in the Divinity League compared to Blue Outer League Gold. So we'll see how they're able to do. I think they participated in the Invitational, and they came up against Eclipsing Tides in the final, and that game was interesting. So that game definitely maybe showed a lot or showed very little, considering it was only one game, about how these teams are going to match up. But they do. CB Rangers does dodge Eclipsing Tides, as CB Rangers will be in Group A. Eclipsing Tides is in Group B. One additional thing to add for CB Rangers is that their jungler, I believe, Black Eyed Peas, yes, that's their jungler. He just recently got engaged, so major congratulations to him, and wish you the best of luck from all the Tiny Sports staff.
Alright.
TLP and Sands, any insight? Have you guys been following this team in BOL? Any insights to the players and how they performed in Invitational?
I don't even know what a BOL is, gonna be honest. Titan's the only league for me. Make a little heart with my fingers right now. You can't see it.
I think.
Just take my word for it.
I think Rangers are definitely going to be a playoff team. Definitely going to be a playoff team. They definitely put a hurting on us. And unfortunately, it was the streamed game that we got clapped on. Krama and Black Eyed Peas are definitely strong players individually. I think as a whole that they're just an overall well-rounded team, and it's just going to be interesting to see how they match up against some of these other teams in Titan.
Yeah. I'm seeing some meat sticking in the jungle, and I'm seeing some very aggressive champions of the support role from Peacemaker. I see Rel and Pantheon and Bard, my all-time favorite support to see. So these stream games, keep an eye out for these guys because they're definitely going to be interesting. And with their
Yeah, for sure. I definitely see them being I see them being a top 4 team. So we'll see if they can live up to their championship status and how they do with this split. They'll be joining the rest of the teams in Group A. So let's see who the 6th team in Group B will be.
Ready.
Okay. Oh, some information from the stream. Black Eyed Peas is not engaged.
He's Forget about that. He's lying. He probably is. He's just too embarrassed.
Okay, okay.
Nothing wrong with being engaged.
That should be a shame for us.
Deep below esports.
All right.
Yeah, this is a newer org. They're looking to join the comp scene in League of Legends, and I believe they have some Rocket League participation. So they pretty much drive on communication and commitment for all their teams. So definitely a newer org. I believe some newer players as well. So interested to see how they'll be performing. But for now, they will be joining the rest of the teams in Group B.
Ooh, okay. So for any new team, Group B is definitely going to be a hard hurdle to cross, especially for someone new to competitive play. There's a lot of very strong contenders in this league. So getting even to that halfway point, like making a statement for yourself in these first few weeks, like showing who you are as players in regards to these other teams, is definitely how you make a name for yourself and kind of push through this.
Yeah, for sure. Just based on their roster and honestly, my little knowledge of some of their players, I I hope this team can prove me wrong, but I see them being one of the lower tier teams this split, just based on all the tough competition out here in the winter split. So we'll see how they do.
Yeah, I hope they prove me wrong, honestly. I want these guys. This is my call for this split. These guys are the dark horse. I want to see these guys eke into the playoffs and then dominate past that.
All right, we're gonna hold you to that call. So if that doesn't happen, you'll be in big trouble.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm used to that. Y'all already know what happened last time I was casting.
Let's see who will be the seventh team in Group A.
All right.
I don't know. It's a 1-in-4 shot. Who's your bet?
Glacial. All right.
It's Glacial.
Yeah, welcome to Glacial, or welcome back. They had a team in our fall split as well. They have a numerous amount of teams, I believe, across various leagues. They had a Glacial Charm team in our Conqueror League a couple of splits ago. They had got the name, but they had another Glacial team in our Divinity League last split. So welcoming them back, they were able to squeeze into our Divinity League as well. Excited. I honestly, the best part that I like about this team, I mean, they're an academy team, so they're definitely going to be looking to develop as players. But I like their logo, and that's the best thing I like about this team.
I do like
Otherwise, good luck to them with their current group right now, because they're really gonna need it.
That's nothing against you guys, by the way. That's just how these rosters are lining up. Like, I was saying how Group B is going to be very tough contenders, but look at Group A right now. You have returning champions. You got some of these, like, teams that have been around for a while. As an academy team, you have a lot of room to grow, but you're being thrown to the fire here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. They're going to get some really good experience playing against some of these teams.
Yeah. Win or lose, you guys are going to grow, like, by orders of magnitude playing here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Steel sharpens steel. I mean, trial by fire. It's going to be. I mean, you're going to grow one way or the other.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not an option anymore.
Welcome back to Glacial, as they'll be joining the rest of the teams in Group A. I think we're ready to see the seventh team in Group B.
All right, let's
Let's
take
round
a
these
look.
out. Ooh, 1-in-3 shot.
All right.
Ooh, it's off the za. They have my favorite team intro, by the way.
Yeah, welcome back. Do you know their team intro? Their team intro is "We smoke za all day, even during our games, to keep us winning." Well, welcome back. Welcome back to Off the Za. You guys can chime in a little bit about Off the Za and their comeback. I think, did they play in fall? I know they took a break.
Yeah, they took a break. They didn't play in fall. They definitely played in summer.
Yeah.
But Project Crisis and Bali were actually playing in opposite roles. You had Bali at ADC, and you had Project Crisis playing mid. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see, because Bali was a very strong foundational piece of how their bot lane functioned. Project Crisis was definitely a strong role player, and they have a new jungler. It is not KKTI this time around, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how he slots in and fits in with a team that's already been playing together, and let's see how Bali performs mid lane.
Yeah. I'm excited to see some performance from this top lane because I'm seeing a lot of very high risk, high reward picks here. I'm seeing a Darius and Fiora and a lot of Yone. So we're definitely going to see some exciting matchups in the top lane, which is going to be a highlight of this split in particular.
I stand corrected. KKTI just name changed. That is still the returning full roster of Afdazah.
Awesome. I believe when they participated in summer, the only game they dropped was the first week because they didn't show up. So
they were off that
they must have really been off. They must have really been off the Zod that week. But otherwise, after that, I'm pretty sure they went. They either went undefeated or they dropped one game. And
yeah, they performed very well, and
they
I know
went pretty
Bali's
deep. Yeah, they went pretty deep into playoffs, so I'm excited to see them come back.
for sure.
They didn't have the best performance in the Invitational, but I think this is a team to watch during the actual split.
Yeah.
They'll be the seventh team in Group B, but I definitely have them making playoffs, being a top 6 team in the league.
Yeah. Keep in mind, guys, if you want to get into playoffs, just smoke some Zaw.
Yeah, I know Bali's going to beg you guys to ban fucking Seraphine.
Let's see. Well, welcome back, ODZ. Good to have you guys, and let's see who the final team is in Group A.
Oh, it's a 1 and 2 shot.
Yeah.
Heads or tails? I'm going Lambda. It's
Lambda.
It's in the middle.
No, it's not. It's Lambda, the Chitin roster.
Yeah, all right. Chitin's everyone's favorite player. I love Chitin.
No, he's not. It's so hard to prep for the guy.
It really is. He's everyone's favorite player with favorite in the air quotes.
This is Dorado Gaming Lambda, our reigning Divinity League champions. I believe their captain or coach, their captain being Kyan and their coach being Chelsea, believes that Dorado Gaming is the most prestigious organization in the amateur scene. Wow. They have the best players and the most superior banter. So I'm not sure which one of them said it, but hey, they have a lot of faith in their team and their org. And that shows by some of the championships they've recently won. One of them being our Divinity Fall split. So definitely interesting to see this team back and see how they'll be performing without their star ADC from the Fall split.
Yeah.
TLP Sands, any thoughts on this team?
They're just a bunch of dogs, man. Dog champs.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. This is something.
It's going to be interesting to see, especially with I think Kyan's believed to be the only returning member from the original Lambda squad.
Oh, okay. So a lot of new blood here, held together by a core of Titan for a while. The man, the myth, the legend.
Yes, sir.
I'm very excited.
That rounds up Group A.
Yeah, that rounds out Group A. I mean, as reigning champions, I think I have this team as. I'll let you guys know in a bit where they rank.
Yeah,
it's going to be pretty high.
Let's see who the final team is.
The final team is
the one and only remaining team.
Yeah. Spin the wheel anyway.
We gotta spin it, right? We gotta spin it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, let's take a peek. Oh, I just went straight to it. Okay, it's Eden Snapdragon. Okay, please. There we go. All right.
Eden Snapdragons.
Hey, it's Eden Snapdragons.
Where do I even begin?
Yeah, how do we start to talk about this team?
Mechanical shortcomings from Major, just for the memes. You have 2 members from Ash and 3 members of the runner-up, the second place, the runner-ups from Spring, from the Eden Serpents on this roster. You have the Spring BD's top laner, the Spring champions, So you have a little bit of everything on this roster.
Yeah,
Yes,
pretty solid roster that Eden Major has put together. I believe as Sands and TLP are familiar, Eden has had some pretty solid runs in our Divinity League. So definitely excited to see them back, and they will be rounding out Group B as the final team, and our final team of the draw. Sands, TLP, any closing thoughts on Eden Snapdragons?
I'm coming for him. Just know I'm coming for him.
Okay. Isodak was on BDE, my all-time favorite team, who I believe is coming back for a Conquer League. So if you guys will keep me around till then, I'll gloat about them a bit. I love BDE, honestly. I love the way Isodak plays as well. I'm very excited to see how he matches up against TLP in particular. Because, of course, just based on what I'm hearing here, it sounds like some kind of grudge match.
Rival. That's my rival
Awesome.
right there.
Yeah, I think I'll be excited to see how they perform. I think they have a solid roster, but I believe they'll be competing for one of the final spots to make the playoffs. So the competition is tough this split. Let's see. Can we bring up? Is it possible to bring up the standings? Oh, awesome! Perfect. So with all the teams being drawn, we can see our regular season standings. The 4 teams have already made playoffs, and the rest of them are eliminated. Just kidding. Everybody's 0-0, obviously. In Group A, we have Tenebris Esports Ethereal, Team Revenge Academy, Conduit Esports Kraken, Team Ambition Crab Wranglers, Twin Disasters Normandy, Chip Bring In Rangers, and Glacial Academy and Dorado Gaming Lambda. And in Group B, we have Eclipsing Tides, Goon Squad Gaming, Piltover's Finest Enforcers, Chip Bring In Fallen, Blissful Haven Goat, Deep Below Esports, Off the Za, and Eden Snapdragons. So definitely some exciting groups. TLP, Sans, any thoughts on the 2 groups?
God, this is gonna be such an interesting thing. It's just gonna be so interesting to see how these groups end up shaking out.
Yeah, as I'm in Conquer, right? So normally I had no reason to watch these Divinity, but just look at these teams. Just look at some of these lanes. It's gonna be a sight to behold. It's gonna be beautiful. So I'm gonna be tuning into all the Divinity streams. I suggest keeping an eye out. It's gonna be exciting either way.
All right, so we can move along a little bit faster. What are your top of your heads? Group A, who do you see making playoffs?
For Group A, I'm gonna have to say Crab Wranglers, Rangers, Lambda, and I just feel like it might be either. I think Normandy. I think Normandy
I
make
feel like
it.
that's a good bet.
What about you, Sans?
Ooh. Okay, so Wranglers first off, Lambda. I'm gonna put Normandy as well, and then I'm thinking TR Academy. I feel like they're gonna pull above.
Rangers? Huh.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like the dark horse call. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Thoughts on who's making it out of Group B?
Oh, you mean me? So I already hedged my bet on Deep Below Esports. I truly believe they're the ones. They're the ones. I feel it. The Za, Eclipsing Tides, and I gotta go for my boy Age Goat.
You're
Snapdragons isn't in that roster, so we'll see.
so where do I think? I think Eclipsing Tides. I think Fallen. I think Age to go. And I think it's gonna be close between Snapdragons and Off the Zaw.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be some matches to watch out for.
I'm gonna be honest. I think HGO, Snapdragons off the Zal will be battling for the last 2 spots. I think that's how it's going to end up shaking up.
Yeah, I feel like Eclipsing Tides is solidly 100% up there. I don't think nothing's gonna make them sweat too hard, at least in these group stages.
Unless they mental boom. That's the only thing I can think of.
Guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just 1 second. So, real quick, as I promised, I think we see who TLP and Sands have making out their groups. I will just give you guys a quick rankings. As I mentioned, these are completely factual and unbiased. I know everything about the teams, so this is how the league will actually end. But number 1, I see the reigning champs, Colorado Gaming Lambda. Number 2, Eclipsing Tides. Number 3, CB Rangers. Number 4, EA Crab Wranglers. Number 5, DD Normandy. 6, Off the Za. 7, CB Fallen. 8, Hidden Snapdragons. 9, Good Squad Gaming. 10, Team Revenge Academy. 11, Abyssal Haven Goat. 12, Piltover's Finest Enforcers. 13, Tenebris Esports Ethereal. 14, Deep Below Esports. 15, Glacial Academy. And 16, Conduit Esports Kraken. And I will find out who actually messed up my rankings and moved Conduit Esports Kraken in last. So for now, I'll be leaving them there. So that rounds out our group draw for Divinity, and you can see both of the groups in the standings page. I'll be updating the schedule later tonight after the group draw, but you can pretty much see it. It's kind of already laid out. I'll just have to update the actual team names in the schedule, but it's basically based off of when each team was drawn. So I'll be getting that updated soon. And I think that pretty much rounds it out for the Divinity League group draw. Sans TLP, any closing thoughts?
No, not really. I'm pretty sure we summed it up pretty well. Although I am very excited to see how these Conqueror draws go, and about how you put Timeless Harmony at number 1 in the Conqueror rankings.
Yeah, for sure. I think you'll probably be sticking around with us for the Conqueror rankings, and I believe TLP had something come in. So thank the both of you for helping out with the group draw show. And we'll be taking a short 2-3 minute break before we start the Conqueror League group draw show.
Yep.
So
See you guys when we talk about Conquer.
Yeah, catch us in a couple of minutes with myself and Olram and TLP chiming in for his own team and being biased. We'll be back in a bit. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We're about to do the Conqueror League D4 Cap draw show for the 16 teams that are participating. Split them into two groups of 8. As if nobody caught the intro, if the Conqueror teams didn't catch the intro at the beginning, two groups of 8, single round robin for 7 weeks into 3 weeks of playoffs. We have some exciting teams participating. So excited to see which teams get placed into what group and who they'll be facing off. So to speed things up, let's get started with the first draw for the Conqueror League. All right, in Group A, the first team drawn is Dorado Gaming Epsilon. We saw this team in the Invitational last split. From Zol, their owner, Epsilon are APL and RC champions from the previous split, and they're looking to add a few more titles to their name this upcoming split. Their deep runs in championship titles would make them any other org's flagship team, but they are one of many powerhouses under the Dorado banner, many of who ran away with their respective leagues in 2022. That is not to say they are not an impressive team that the org is proud of, but rather they represent the org-wide standard of excellence that has made it the war machine of this day. So Dorado Gaming coming in strong into our D4 Cap League with one of their strong teams in Epsilon. We'll see how they're able to perform in this split against some of the concurrent competition. They participated in our invitational last week, and they lost in the finals to Emotional Damage Energy. I believe they have a pretty solid roster coming in here. Elram, any thoughts on Dorado Gaming Epsilon?
Yeah, so I was looking at their results from the Invitational itself, actually, and while they didn't manage to pick up that final win to really clinch it, I really loved their draft in Game 3 against OGM. I think they did a really good job of just absolutely draft diffing that particular game. And I think that's one of the things I want to really look at because I think they did, over the course of their games that night, a really good job of looking into what they wanted to do and making that happen. I think maybe a little bit of the best of ones kind of messed with them. And over the course of a split, I want to see how they are able to adapt in series. Uh, but I think they're going to be a really solid team throughout, and I want to see what they have to do to get that title.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Based on their experience, I would expect them to have solid drafts and solid gameplay and be one of the top teams in the league. So, looking forward to seeing them participate and improving on their invitational performance. I believe this will be probably a top 4 team in the league, and they'll be the first team in Group A. So, let's move on to the first team in Group B.
Time to watch that death stare of a guy spinning around on the screen. Elysium Blaze, awesome.
Yes, Elysium Blaze is a returning org in Tiny Esports. They participated, and actually, the Elysium org has won our 2021 Summer Conqueror League as Kosa Gaming Rampage, if anybody remembers that. They came in as a 6 seed and went all the way to the championship. And they've renamed since then, had some solid teams since 2021. Their most recent roster in our fall Gladiator League, RIP, someone pour one out. Their team was the championship team for that Gladiator League. And they have some pretty solid rosters all around. Elram, any thoughts on the Elysium Blaze roster?
Yeah, I really did admire the way that Elysium played in the Gladiator League. As I was writing a bunch of content for them, uh, anyone reading it could tell that I was pretty on that Elysium hype train from like week 2. It's really interesting that we have 2 teams from their organization in this league. And what jumped out to me, just kind of glancing over the different OP.GGs of this team, was their top laner, who's been putting a lot of Jace games in recently. Not exactly the champion pool that one normally sees in these leagues. And I'm hoping that kind of solo queue carry win lane strategy carries over into this as well, so we get some of those exciting matchups.
For sure. I'm excited to see how they perform. They've been a consistent playoff team every time they've participated. And as I mentioned, their owner, Eli Nasir, who is not on this team, but he has some pretty good teams that he's able to put together. So I believe this is the stronger of the two Elysium teams, and I can definitely see them making a deep playoff run. So excited to see them participate. And they'll be the first team in our Group B. Let's move on and see who the second team it will be in Group A, joining Dorado Gaming Epsilon. Olympus Onyx, or as they refer to themselves as the 2016 Golden State Warriors. I believe this is a newer org. I forget who's the owner, but they have some returning players on the team with former champions Abandon in the top lane, and my name's Angel in the ADC role. Pretty familiar names as they've won championships in 2022 and some All-Star appearances as well.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really jumped out to me when I was going over this team's individual members is that their mid laner Reiki has actually already hit the solo queue grind pretty hard, and their Talia games, they have a 79% win rate over the course of the last 24 games played. Seems to be really tearing it up on that pick, and I'm really interested to see if that actually gets through, if that translates into gameplay in the actual league. Really interested in seeing how that kind of grind comes out.
Yeah, for sure. As I mentioned, they have some solid players who have some good experience over 2022 participating in the Conquer League. So a lot of teams may be familiar with them. I think they're going to be a pretty strong team based on some of the players they've assembled. And I definitely see them making a deep playoff run, probably being a top 4 team. And they'll be joining Dorado Gaming Epsilon in Group A. Welcome back to some of the players and to the Olympus org. Let's see who the second team in Group B will be. Welcome to Orbit Gaming Moon. They are a newer org as well to Tiny Esports. We saw them participate in the Invitational. I believe they did pretty well, going 2-1 and losing to Dorado Gaming Epsilon in the third game, which was their tiebreaker. So they just missed out on the finals of the Invitational. They had some really solid performances. The Orbit Gaming org does have 2 teams in our Conquer League this split, so we'll see which one of those teams ends up putting on a better performance, or if both of them end up going very deep. Olram, any thoughts on the Orbit Gaming Moon roster?
Yeah, absolutely. When we were looking at the invitational, right, when we were seeing their games coming through, uh, Wojo in the mid, absolutely clapping some people on Cassidon and Cassiopeia. Really looking for that late game AP carry, like just stomp power of evil style play here. And then the Yasuo game came through, and it fell a little bit flat. Whether that comes from the fact that the other team drafted Poppy and whatchamacallit, Vec, and just like really countered the dash movement, or just a rough laning phase. I really want to see them bounce back and come in strong for the league. I'm looking forward to watching some of these mid lane games from them. And they have a really deep sub pool of all things. So I'm hoping that speaks to kind of the infrastructure and their ability to adapt that they bring in.
Definitely agree. I think this is going to be a good roster, but I'm not sure if they'll be able to make playoffs with some of the other rosters that I've seen. So I hope they prove me wrong. And they will be joining, as I mentioned already, the second team in Group B joining Elysium Blaze. So let's move on and see who the third team in Group A will be.
Well, really conveniently, it just so
Yeah.
happened that they got into the other groups we didn't have to respin. That's nice.
Yeah, Orbit Eclipse, the other sister team of the Orbit Gaming Moon organization. Similar stuff that I mentioned. I think this roster is solid based on what this roster is better than the other one based on what I've heard. Um, we'll see how they perform. I haven't actually seen them play. I know there's a familiar face on there in Swifty, who is one of my former junglers. So we'll see if what he can do with the roster. Rob, any thoughts on him?
Yeah. So again, looking at their op.ggs, looking at what they've been doing this current season, I really enjoyed looking at what Swifty and Plain Bagel brought to the table. They both look like they're grinding out those kind of tankier engage options and really opening it up for the rest of the team to be the damage sources. And I think having that identity, having that kind of selfless mentality to start, is a really good way of moving forward. As Sanserino was saying, that meat stick mentality.
Yeah, this will be an exciting team to watch. As I mentioned, I think this team is going to be better. This roster is going to be better than their sister roster. I definitely see them making playoffs, but that might change based on what other teams end up in their Group A. So currently they're in Group A with Olympus Onyx and Dorado Gaming Epsilon. So welcome to the Orbit Gaming organization. Glad to have you guys with two teams here, and best of luck to you guys in the split. Let's see who will be the third team in Group B.
Does that work out properly? Is that going into the correct place?
Elysium Fritz is the other sister team participating with their Elysium Blaze roster. They will be sliding, since we do not allow sister teams in the same group, they will be sliding into Group A along with the other teams that we just mentioned. So Elysium Fritz will be the fourth team in Group A. And if we bring up their roster, as we can see, this one, I think they have some minor changes with, oh no, it's updated. They have MX Tato, a returning player from Conqueror, and the familiar face in the support role. And then K-Pep's former two-time champion in the jungle. So I'm excited to see what this team can actually do. But I do have them being an underdog. Olram, any thoughts?
Well, I've been watching that K-Peps has been spamming some Zac in solo queue. So I really, once again, have to lean into this meat stick mentality moment. I really want to see those crazy gank angles. I want to see things going off in these team fights. I just want to see things happening. Even if you're not like the strongest possible team, if you're the one making proactive decisions, you always have a shot. So I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see these kind of proactive picks coming out.
Yeah, for sure. So as they are the fourth team in Group A, We're going to spin to see who the third team is in Group B. World Esports Nova. This is a familiar org in the Titan esports sphere so far. They participated, I'm pretty sure, throughout 2022. Had a couple of teams, had some solid performances, solid runs, and I want to see what they're able to do with this new roster. I don't think they had too good of a performance in the Invitational right over them. So
they definitely had a rough moment in the Invitational. I would say, looking at what they actually brought out, game 1, they just got beat straight up. I think OGM did a great job of beating them. Game 2, though, they had a really close game with Dorado Gaming. And then by game 3, we actually saw them really clutching out that win with their sort of negation kite back style play. And I do think if they keep on working with that style and they draft a little bit better to make sure they have some win conditions, I think they can really pull this together.
definitely agree. There's a lot of potential there. So based on their previous performances, I think this team has some room to grow. Some room to grow into possibly playoff contenders. But I haven't. Like I said, these are just looking at people's OPGs and experiences. So we'll see. We'll see how they do. I might be completely wrong. And New World Esports Nova, welcome back. They'll be joining Elysium Blaze and Orbit Gaming Moon in Group B. And now let's draw for the fourth team in Group B. Hotspot Gaming. Welcome to the Hotspot Gaming organization. I think they're pretty new to esports. I've seen them participate in a couple other leagues. Not sure how their teams have previously done, but they did have a solid performance, I believe, in the Invitational. Rum, do you want to talk a bit about that and their current roster?
Sure, absolutely. So, I mean, to be perfectly honest, they kind of clapped Dorado in their game in the Invitational. Like, they had these like massive performances out of Ace and Blur, with Cryptics coming in on that Sejuani and really rounding things out. The one kind of thing that I'm a little more worried about is by like their game 3 of the night, right? They basically ran back the same comp with some changes in the bot lane, but they got shut out by New World Esports. So what I really want to see is either they, commit to that kind of style, or they make a real change, because I'm not as sure when one game they could be absolutely destroying someone who made it to finals, and another game doing a lot worse. So I think they're a good team. I think that they're just a little bit up and down right now. So I want to see a little bit more consistency.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. You can't take much away from single game performances, but they had a very solid performance against one of the top teams in the Invitational, and then completely kind of apart as it went on, I guess. So I'm interested to see if they're kind of a coin flippy team or if they just kind of got caught off guard as it went on. So we'll see how this team does in Group B. Joining New World Esports Nova, Orbit Moon, and Elysium Blaze. Welcome to the Hotspot Gaming org. Best of luck this split, and let's see who will be the fifth team in Group A. Glaive Esports Black. This is a newer org as well to us. I think they're coming back from a small hiatus with some newer teams. So I'm interested to see how they will perform. Their roster looks pretty solid. Um, and one name, well, it was a different team. Not too familiar with some of their players, but based on their OPGG, they look pretty strong. So I'm interested to see what Glaive Black can do in a Conqueror League. Overall, any thoughts?
Yeah, so the player I was really looking at in this process was Lua with Sword, who already has more game, like over 100 games in solo queue this early into
Wow.
the season, and actually has like 50 plus games on Sona with a positive win rate. Uh, I'm really interested to see if that pick even gets through, but I really want it to because I want to see those kinds of like different looks in these teams. But I think this team looks really solid. They look like a squad that's actually grinding out games. Like Brazinga has 30 Pantheon games so far. I want to see that hard work really like paying off as they move on into the season. And I just hope they don't burn themselves out playing too much League of Legends.
Definitely agree. You always love to see a team working on their skills and hopefully that translates over into competitive play. So I'm super excited to see the Glaive organization join Tiny Esports. Um, I believe for this roster, I don't know much about them honestly, and I haven't seen them perform. So it's hard to say where they will be rankings wise, but I have them kind of like middle of the pack so far, just based on not being able to judge them properly. So they'll be joining the rest of the teams in Group A. Let's see who will be the fifth team in Group B. Red Zone Gaming going to Group B, and this is the DZG Tartarus team. And from their coach, Trazian, they are the best team in NA, always performing at a Korean level. NA level performance deserves equals jumper cables for his players, and he said that you all suck and that he's better. So I hope Coach Trajan is able to have his team live up to that strong statement right there. And welcome to the DZG org and to Tiny Sports. I've seen them participate across other leagues. They have some really solid rosters most of the time, make deep playoff runs. So I'm expecting to see the same from this roster. Over, any thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, throughout the invitational, they really had kind of the same strategy, right? They had weak side top from Octofu and strong side bot with maybe the actual numbers. I think it worked overall for them. I think that they have the opportunity to really play that sort of front to back style protect the carry thing. The only thing is on some of those weak side games, Oktofu looked a little bit iffy. And now this is best of ones, of course, only so much you can read into it. I'm hoping that as they move forward, some of that pressure absorption on the top side gets a little bit more solid so that they don't bleed any kills through. That's all.
Yeah, for sure. Welcome to DZG. I think they'll be, based on their invitational performance, I'm expecting them to be one of the last teams into the playoffs, kind of undermining what Trajan said about his roster. So we'll see if they're able to prove me wrong and kind of make a deep playoff run. And they'll be sliding into Group B with HSG Crimson, New Orleans Sports Nova, Orbit Moon, and Elysium Blaze. So welcome DZG, and let's see who will be the sixth team in Group A. Yes, a familiar org, TA Dayspa from Team Ambition. I believe their Dayspa team has been together for a while, mostly participating in gold leagues, and they are most recently the Victorious VAS, which is their gold league, the champions from their fall split, and they're looking for a challenge by playing up, looking to be the dark horse of the league. So we'll see how they majority of these high gold, low plat players are able to perform against much tougher competition than they're used to seeing. And I believe we have one of their players here with us, which is Notorious TLP. Any, I believe you're subbing for them. Any thoughts?
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Yeah, I mean, after obviously, the Invitational didn't go quite as planned for them. But after talking to them, a lot of them guys actually took it very well and are actually extremely motivated after it. Like, they don't ever talk about actually scrimming, and they were talking about scrimming and actually like really grinding it out. So, like, should be really interesting to see how these guys grow together and how we all play.
Thank you for the wonderful insight, TLP, from the man on the roster. Oram, any thoughts on TA Dayspa?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously these guys are really
Yeah, he cut out.
stuff, and I've written. Oh, can you hear me?
No, he got cut out.
We can hear you now.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no. What I was saying is just that I think this is a solid group of guys. I think they play really well together. I will say, as they're playing up here, I think that they're going to have to solidify a little bit more of a team identity as they go in. Like, at least one of their compositions was just a very like scale for late game, hope for the best comp with like Victor and Kaisa in the Invitational. I don't really think that kind of that send and fight the other team strategy is necessarily going to work as well for them now that they're playing up. But I do think that they're going to improve rapidly over time while they're here. So I'm rooting for them to get better and keep moving.
I 100% agree with that insight. As anybody has known when they played against tougher competition, some of your, I wouldn't say weaknesses, but essentially weaknesses, some of your best strategies essentially get exposed because there are teams that essentially play those same strategies but in a much better, on a much higher level. As TA Baseball saw in the Invitational with their rough performance. But I'm definitely looking to seeing if they can improve. I always love seeing players that are in lower leagues kind of stepping up to the challenge and taking on higher, moving up to higher divisions and seeing if they can take on players in those divisions. Yeah, currently, based on their performance, I don't see this team doing too well, but welcoming them to the challenge. So, oh, and one additional thing, Adam did say that they will win it all. So I am interested to see how they're going to do that after the Invitational. So I'll hold him accountable. If they don't win it all, I'll tell Bratz to drop him and from TA and drop his team. So we'll see how that goes. TA will be the 6th team in Group A, joining Glaive Black, Elysium Fritz, Orbit Eclipse, Olympus Onyx, and Dog Epsilon. Holy, that's a tough group. Yeah, good luck, Adam and TA Dayspa. Let's see who the 6th team in Group B will be. Yes, the Basement Dwellers. One second, I believe this team. This is a new team. They're not really an org, but they're a team that's been together for about a year, and I believe they're 2 times Risen Esports Plat League semifinalists. I'll read off the intro that they gave for themselves, being a group of players that has been together for a while. They're a team where everyone accepts and fulfills their roles like puzzle pieces. The Basement Dwellers are a team that excel in the mid game when they are able to make aggressive map moves to catch their opponents off guard. Okay, they're giving away some strategy, but I'll continue reading. A relatively new team. They're coming off a top 4 showing in Risen Esports. They have a chip on their shoulder and a lot to prove. Or as someone who's been on the Basement Dwellers for a long time, I think this is one of their players, but I've seen all the negative comments that everyone has said about us for the past few years. And I'm just here to tell you, blank you, every year, Basement Dwellers should sell their spot. Basement Dwellers is 10th place team. Well, guess what? We believe in our team, and even if you don't, well, you get the point. So shout out to the Basement Dwellers and welcome to their players. Hope you guys have an exciting split here. Rum, any thoughts on the Basement Dwellers roster?
Yeah, I mean, looking at their OP.GGs, there's not that much to work with so far. I do think their bottom lane has been hitting solo queue a little bit harder than the rest of their team, and they are both looking pretty solid. I've seen that Amanda Lynn, their support, seems to just be playing Lulu, just all Lulu. So they may be looking for that really like hard carry plus Lulu strategy. See if they can just late game wipe whole teams kind of deal. But other than that, not too many insights. I am looking forward to seeing them play though.
Yeah, for sure. And funny enough, their player mentioned somebody talking about them being 10th place every single split. Well, guess what? I have them as the 10th place team overall in the rankings. So I hope they're able to prove me wrong as they have done so in previous leagues. So
Yeah, I got to hit that 9th place.
they'll be the 6th team in Group B. Let's see who will be the 7th team in Group A. Kung Fu Zoo. This is not an org necessarily. They're a team ran by the Fisher College coach, FC Drake. So this team, and based on his previous accomplishments, I expect them to be one of the stronger teams in the league. I believe their starting lineup is their B team, as mentioned. So we'll see if they're able how strong they are compared to some of the other teams, and if they'll need to utilize their subs, who are essentially their A team. So super excited to see Kung Fu Zoo join us and see how they perform against some of the Conquer League competition in Group A. And welcome to them. Olram, any thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, looking at their squad here, I think the player I'm watching the most is their jungler, Chicken, who seems to be playing a lot of those kind of carry-oriented junglers. If I recall, I saw some Belveth, some just some really like get ahead, stomp people kind of stuff. I was a little bit worried when I saw their mid laner. Their mid laners hit that 100+ game mark in the good way. Sitting at gold 4 right now. I mean, I've been there. I've been stuck there before myself. But playing up into this plat league, that may be pretty challenging. I'm hoping that maybe one of those players who plays better in a team environment than in solo queue, or who's not going well and it shoots up soon. So I'm interested to see how they pull this off.
Yeah, for sure. I think one person I recognize on their team is their jungler Chicken. He played last in 2021 probably on a Bucky's Atmosphere team. I believe he was pretty good back then, and I believe he was only goldish, high gold. And it's great to see players improve, and it looks like he's hit all the way to Diamond 4. So I'm interested to see. He was pretty strong back then, so I'm assuming he's gotten even better. So we'll see how he's able to perform with the Kung Fu Zoo team with a solid coach behind his back. And yeah, this Kung Fu Zoo will be the 7th team in Group A, joining TED Spot, Blade Black, Elysium Fritz, Orbit, Eclipse, Olympus Onyx, and Dog Epsilon. That is a strong group. All right, let's see who's going to be. Welcome, Kung Fu Zoo. Let's see who's going to be the 7th team in Group B. Emotional Damage Energy, a familiar face in the Conqueror League. Welcome back. Previous semifinalists and Conqueror Invitational champions actually went 4-0 and put on some pretty dominating performances. They have a lot of returning players, with, I would say, probably their best player being the jungler, who facilitates everything across the rest of the map. But he'll probably say the ADC is the best, who is essentially their hyper carry player. And I believe this team is very, very, very good at organized team play, as we saw in the Invitational. So I'm excited to see them coming back and trying to put on a better performance than they did in the previous splits, which would be actually winning a championship. So we'll see if they're able to do that. Over, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, and you already kind of pointed at this, but I will say, looking at their invitational results, I think a lot of it can be attributed to, yes, their jungler, but also their ADC put up just these big numbers throughout the whole thing, right? So, and I mean, on these ultra late game hyper carry champions, the Twitch, the Zeri, the Jinx, I really think this team does a good job playing around their bot lane and making that their win condition. But also, no one on their team seemed like they were like an obvious weak point. There was some solid stuff out of their top laner, Pally, who I believe was pulling out like the Darius and stuff in their, I believe in the champion win. I'm really excited actually to see this team come through. I hope they keep just on chugging with this energy, and I hope that they really make some waves in this league.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. All I saw in chat was palliating about this, palliating about that. But hey, Pally came out into finals on that Darius. I'm pretty sure he pulled off a quadra kill. So don't underestimate sneaky little top laner. He's
Absolutely.
one of the underdogs to watch, I would say, for the rest of the top players in the league. So welcome back to EDE. Congrats on your Conqueror Winter Invitational win, and excited to see this team perform and see if they're able to sneak away with a championship this time around. They'll be the 7th team in Group B. And let's move on and draw the 8th and final team of Group A. Queen's Revenge. These are the two-time runner-ups, back-to-back runner-ups from our summer split and our fall split. So they've had a pretty solid roster throughout 2022. Pretty strong runs, spearheaded by their jungler, Queen Styx, with a couple of solid support performances coming in. So I'm excited to see if they're able to build on their 2022 performances and maybe get a championship this time around and not be runners up. But they did look a little bit weaker in the Invitational. Maybe that was just rust. Maybe it was just, BO1s. But I'm interested to see if they're able to bounce back and get back to winning ways.
Yeah, I
Over,
think
any thoughts on Queen's Revenge?
yeah, I think the only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is that their only really convincing game in the Invitational was against TA Day Spa. And like I said, TA Day Spa has some solid players on it, but right now they're not really playing up to the competition. So Queen's Revenge kind of stomping them doesn't seem to mean as much as the losses they accumulated. I will say in their one win, their jungler, I'm Like Acid, really just absolutely went to town on that Evelyn pick. And I would like to see more of those kind of carry oriented picks out of the jungle just to mix things up, make things a little bit more exciting. But I kind of just hope that they pull things together a little bit more for the regular season.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Looking forward to see them perform and how they're able to face off against some tougher competition, I would say, in Group A. Looking like a really, really, really difficult group. So we'll see about that. And our final and 8th team, the only one left, Timeless Harmony. This is one of our returning orgs who participated in the Gladiator League. Once again, RIP, pour one out for the Gladiator League. They had a solid performance, I would say. Let me read off their team intro. From their contact, Natsu, they're back at it again, returning to Titan and win it this time. And each of their players had a comment, or no, Natsu has a comment about each of his players. Top laner, weak side king, beat him, you can try and fail. Jungler, incoming GOAT, the king of the jungle is ready to make it a jungle diff. Mid, call him the next Faker because he has a toolbox of champions. AC, permaban Nyla if you know what's good for you, but even then, they can pull out any ADC with confidence. Support, cutting edge tech, the brains, the brawn, he has it all. Well, maybe not the brawn, but this enchanter player isn't here to compete, he's here to dominate. Welcome back to Timeless Harmony, and thank you, Natsu, for the intro. Overall, any thoughts on the final team in Group B, Timeless Harmony?
So, of all the teams in this league, this is the one that I feel the most comfortable commenting on after writing just so much Gladiator stuff before you killed it. And I gotta say, they did not show up in Gladiator in the fall split, and it was really frustrating because I actually kept thinking this is going to be the week, this is going to be the time that they really come together, and it didn't quite work the way that I wanted it to. I will say, Natsu is a great ADC. I think he's a really solid player. I want to see this version of the team not just be the Natsu show, though. I think Sansorino's really good. And I'm not just saying that because he's on the content team and definitely in the comment section waiting to hear his name. But like, I really want to see this team pick up where I thought they were going to go last time. I don't know if I believe quite as hard this time. They're going to have to earn that trust back, but I'm rooting for it. I want it to happen.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to seeing how they do against some tougher competition as well. And I believe that rounds out our group draw for the Conqueror League. As mentioned for earlier, I kind of did a small, truthful power rankings for Divinity, and I'll do one for Conqueror too. But before I do that, Overum, any closing thoughts, insight you wanted to provide?
I mean, nothing too huge. Don't worry.
Awesome. I think we'll be seeing a lot more from you on the content side for Conqueror, as Overum will be writing weekly content for the league. So look forward to some of his articles, power rankings, insight into matches, etc., etc. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I've stolen it. It's mine now.
Yes, sir. Conqueror rundown. Continuing it. Appreciate that. Just some quick power rank. We have the groups up, right? Let's see.
Yeah, we got
My overall power rankings. Regardless of the groups, I see emotional damage energy being number one. Why didn't I do this as 16 to 1? It's always better to see the top team as. Spoiler alert. 16 is Team Ambition Baseball. 15, Timeless Harmony. 14, Hotspot Gaming Crimson. 13, New World Esports Nova. 12, Elysium Fritz. 11, Orbit Gaming Moon. 10, Basement Dwellers, as they predicted. 9, Dreadzone Gaming Tartarus. 8, Glaive Black. 7, Orbit Gaming Eclipse. 6, Queen's Revenge. 5, Elysium Blaze. 4, Kung Fu Zoo. 3, Dorado Gaming Epsilon. 2, Olympus Onyx. And 1, Emotional Damage Energy.
nice. Just glancing at these two groups, guess at who's going to get out. It's top 4 in each group that gets out, right?
Yeah, top 4.
All right. In no particular order. I
Mhm.
think in Group A we're gonna have Dorado. Let's see, we're gonna have Glaive. We're gonna have Orbit, and we're gonna have Bay. And then in Group B, I think we're gonna have Elysium, Orbit again, Emotional Damage Energy, and I'm feeling the New World Esports.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there, making wild predictions, hoping that I don't just get burned later on. But oh well. Yeah, I see you,
Okay.
Sans. Go.
Good to hear. Good to hear. I'm definitely interested to see how the teams show out. I think Group A is definitely the harder group based on what I've seen. Um, that's going to be a bloodbath over there. But I believe you'll see Olympus Onyx, Dog Epsilon, and let's go with Orbit Eclipse. Those four teams coming through and making playoffs. But I think that group's going to be rough. And then Group B, it's still a solid group, and a lot of teams that I'm unfamiliar with. So maybe I'm speaking out of place that Group A is going to be tough, but Group B is going to be tough too. I definitely see the Elysian Blaze roster making it out. Emotional Damage Energy. Um, damn.
It's a
I
hard
think
group to.
yeah, 3 to 6 is going to be going to be close. But like I said, speaking with not much knowledge from seeing teams participate, so
Yeah, I think Orbit Moon looked really good in the actually pretty solid in the Invitational. So I think they're probably getting out. And then just based on just a vibe, I'm thinking New World Esports. That's really why where I'm going on that group.
yeah, for sure. I think that wraps up our Conquer League group draw as well. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'll have the schedule updated later on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. I'm excited to see how the teams perform. I'm sure Elrum is excited to write some content on the Conqueror League. It's gonna be a hell of a split. And thank you, everyone.
See y'all in the comment section.
Yeah, for sure. See you guys around. Remember, week 1, Wednesday. Make it. Make sure you be there.